Let's talk about self-tapes. Now, this is not about getting your light right, getting your sound right, getting your background right. Those are all the simple things, and I think you all know those at this point. And if you don't and you need any help with that, just let me know. But I've made other videos, like Man Cave videos about that stuff as well, and you can look them up on my YouTube page, all right? My YouTube channel, yeah. Let's look at some other stuff that can be really helpful for your self-tapes. There are some common mistakes that I see quite a lot. So this is a good sitting self-tape. Should you sit or should you stand for your self-tape? Common question. Answer is, if in the script the character is sitting, then sit. If they're standing, then stand. If the casting director says, I want you sitting, then sit. If the casting director says they want you standing, stand. And that's the answer to that question. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 bits of advice today. Number 1, your framing. Put your camera slightly lower than your eyes. Don't put it above you. If the camera is above you, looking down on you, the viewer, when they watch it, will also be looking down on you. Like this. It takes away your presence, takes away your power on that screen and in that frame. Eye level is great, of course, right? But just slightly below eye level is even better. Not too much, obviously, because then they'll be looking up your nose and we don't want that. And it'll also mean that, you'll look really overwhelming to them as well, and overpowering. You don't want that, but you don't want it above your eye line because it does diminish you. It makes you kind of look small. Again, forgive the rain on the roof today. Not about sound and light today. That's the easy stuff, like I said before. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see. Eye lines. They're too unspecific, too non-specific a lot of the time. Your eye lines should be simple, and you should be able to count them easily on one hand. In fact, you should be able to count them on that many fingers, all right? In the technique I teach, we have 2 lives, okay? We call them the life of the character, right? Or the 2 different lives of the character. One is the external life and one is the internal life. Now, I'm going to imagine that I have a reader opposite me just there. That reader is my external life. That's my external life eye line. That's where I go for my objective. As we all know, your objective can only be achieved through the other person in the scene. If you've studied any Stanislavskian-based technique at all, including my own, you'll know that. All right, we can only get the objective from the other person in the scene. You can't play an objective on yourself. It's got to go there. Your attention needs to go there. That's my external life. That's where I go to get my objective. That's where my reader is. When I want them to reassure me, when I want them to hug me, when I want them to tell me I'm wrong, whatever the case may be, it's there, external life. The internal life is where you go for your thoughts. Again, this is very lifelike. We do this in a conversation in life. So we don't stare at each other all the time in a conversation. We look at each other a lot, but we also look away to find our thoughts. And we could look maybe there. You know what? I've decided not to bother. So I've got my external life to the other character in the scene. I go to consider something, I collect my thought, and I bang it onto them, which is my external life. Now you can put your internal life any way you like. You can, as I just did there, cross the camera. No problem, as long as you don't spike the camera, but you won't if you use triangulation or a good screen acting technique. You're unlikely to, because you know exactly where the camera is. External life, internal life, external life. You could put it above. Look, you know what? I'm not going to do that, I'm afraid. Okay, I'm going to have a think, and I've made a decision. It can be, if you like, on the same side of the camera, just maybe over there, okay? Just be careful if you're going on the same side of the camera that you don't go on profile. Blah. They're your 2 eye lines. You should have only those unless a third one is specified in the scene itself, okay? So in the scene, if it says he sees a little bird in the tree, okay? Other character in the scene, external life, here's my thoughts, I'm not quite sure, what I'm going to do about that just yet. External life, oh look, there's that bird again. Okay, so we know exactly where those 3 things are. Now, don't invent one of those, because we won't know what it is. If it's specifically in the script and it's necessary in the scene, then you can take that third eye line and put that somewhere as well. So the only places that you shouldn't put your eye line, one of them is on profile, obviously. The second one is down. Okay, if you put your internal life, I'm going for my thoughts, okay, here's my external life, I'm talking to the other character in the scene, and then I need to consider something, so I consider it here. Obviously it doesn't work because we lose your eyes. We must have your eyes all the time. We have to have your eyes for your external life eye line, your internal life eye line, and any third eye line that's specified in the script. Whoa, the rain is really coming down now. I always make sure I do my self-tapes when it's not raining, and that's hard in Ireland. Anyway, third tip. Okay, a lot of actors say to me, Dave, I'm not getting a recall. Why aren't I getting a recall? Now, a lot of the time we don't get to find out why. Usually though, if you're a trained actor, if you've done your acting classes, if you have an acting technique, it's usually not to do with your acting. It's usually to do with, you just don't quite fit the archetype of that character. Somebody else had green hair and it required green hair. I don't know. It could be some small thing that's out of your control. And that just happens, it's out of your hands, okay? So how can you get a recall? How can you do your work well? The number one thing that casting directors need to see is that you understand that script. How can you demonstrate that you understand that script? You demonstrate that you understand that script by showing the way the character is different at the end of the scene than they were at the beginning. Drama is about transformation. It's about change. You will never get a scene where the character is the same at the end as they were at the beginning. If there is a scene where the character is not changed by the end of the scene, it's a bad piece of writing and it will not make the script at the end of the thing anyway. No casting director will send you a scene like that. No writer will allow it to be in the script once it's at casting stage. And you can be sure of that. You can say to yourself, okay, well, hang on, my character doesn't change in this. What's wrong with this script? Probably you just haven't seen what that change is. Because if you're working on something like Vikings, well, it's written by professional writers. In fact, it's written by Michael Hurst, who, wrote Elizabeth, which was nominated for 6 Academy Awards or whatever it was. You're not going to get writing that's like that. So work out how your character is different. Identify how they've changed, and then allow that change to happen to you. So, tips for the day. Number 1, put your camera slightly below your eyes. Do not put it above it. Number 2, work out your 3 eye lines for your scene. And finally, work out how your character changes. And then do it. Have a great day, guys. Bye.